and then I will get them into place. A bit of graphite powder into the retard gear train. Just work that in. This one's more of an act to exercise. Oh, bugger. It's just a tiny spring digging into me there. That one doesn't want to go. I have to exercise that in the shutter, I think. That'll be alright. That'll be fine. So, the retard gear train first, I think. Where are we? Over here. I wish somebody would keep that camera pointing in the right direction. And 2 screws for that. Let's get this thing settled into place first. There we go. The longer of the 2 screws goes here, right next to that lens catch. Can't seem to get that lined up. And the other screw goes here. One started. The other one started. Whoa, that even works. Let's try that again. Yep, that sounds pretty good to me. I'll check those screws are tight. That one wasn't. That's very good. The self-timer. Bit of a knack getting this thing to happy. Get that position where I can see the screw hole for mounting it. That's better. Now I'll just get one screw loosely in this end first. So I've got to get a lever into position, and I just don't want this falling out of place while I'm doing it. This is the cocking lever here. Getting this in place is usually a bit of an act. See if we can get around it this way. Oh, that was just about it. That was it. That's where I wanted it to be. There's a fine dished washer that sits on top of that, and the concave side should be up. Looks like the dial washer off a watch. That looks good. And the second screw goes down in here. It's awkward to get at. I'll get that started. Check that everything else is sitting correctly. Looks promising. Alright, I'll get that screw tightened. The screw at the other end has a little bracket under it, a little spring-loaded bracket. And this provides the detent for our shutter speed settings, the click stops for it. And there's a spring that operates the self-timer. Pass down under there. You hook it to the pin at that end. And over the post at that end. We've still got one more lever that goes in here, but it's not going to stop me from testing this as it stands. Let's cock that shutter. Set the self-timer. No, other way, that way. Yeah, that's set. Let's see if it runs down. Where's my shutter release? Over here. Self-timer's running down. And the shutter fires. So that's good. Self-timer's working fine. We set it again. I'm listening to make sure that the tone is even. There's no hesitation, or no serious hesitation. I'm not talking about a Swiss watch with these things. That sounds great to me. Right, just a bit of tidying up here. Managed to gather up a mark or two on my shutter blades. Nothing serious. And I'll just get rid of any fingerprints I may have applied getting those speed trains in position. They look good. The lubrication. There's not much that I want to lubricate on this. Mostly just the cam surface here on the main drive cam where the B lever drops in. Some on that little point there that the self-timer lever drops back over. Perhaps some on this lever here. I think that'll do me. So we had this last component was the lever that holds the aperture setting and everything open. It goes that way up. The spring goes that way, and the screw goes through that holds it all together. And this will be a bugger to get in because everything wants to fall over. Yeah, I was right about that. Let's lean that bracket over there. And a spring goes that way. Oh, I'm very impressed. All that in place from first go. Let's get this spring hooked over where it's supposed to be. Should be there. That screw done up. That's all good. Start doing some of the awful stuff in a minute. That cocking gear on the back. That's the one I'm thinking of. And that screw. with this piece. I think I'll put that on after I get these pieces in place, because these pieces I've got to put the pins through, and I've got two pieces I've got to get pins through, and they're awkward. They're awkward to get out. They won't be a hell of a lot better getting them in, so we'll do them next. Quick wipe of molybdenum around the inside of that. Screw in place. Do that up tight. Now the other. Which of these shafts is it? It's that bloody one, isn't it? Right, so I've got to get the front closed before I can put the gear on the back of that. And this lever goes through there. Right, so we get a spacer, a bush, and then there's the lever, which of course only goes one way up because the pin on it has to drop into that other lever. Just like that. And do the holes line up? Do they hell? Not sure why the camera stopped there. I think I just come to the end of the file size limit. I've got the pin through there. I'm just going to force it into place with a pair of pliers. Yeah, that's good. It's much easier to be able to press something into place with pliers than it is to be mucking around trying to hammer things into position, particularly tiny little things like that. The other gear can only go on once I get the front in place. So I'll leave my cocking ring out until I get the front closed up, I think, too. So at the front of the shutter, what's left to go on here? Well, not a lot really. Got my shutter speed cam plate for setting the shutter speeds. And that actually goes on next. So I will apply a little bit of molybdenum paste. The surface I'm interested in, which is the inside edge there. Little bumps that'll give me my shutter speed detents. And that's probably all I need to do. Now which way round does it go? Well, it goes this way because the detents are here and the shutter speed cam itself is here. So I swing that into position. What's not fitting over something, that's better. And the detents need to be pushed into position, that's better. So that the click stops will click. that would be B. It'd be 1 second there, half, quarter, eighth would be there, if I'm correct. Cock this. B, 1, 2, 4, should be a quarter. What do we get? Yeah, that sounds convincing. Good. Check that that's all sitting down as it should be. Nothing appears to be out of place. This other plate, how does that sit? Well, it sits that way up, okay. Getting this other piece in position is a bit tricky because it hardly has any edge to sit over at this point. The edge is more obvious in the matching plate. There's a little pin on it which locates on this ring, and I'm pretty sure it fits about there. There appears to be a place that can fit whereabouts there. This lever's busy dropping out of position. Why? Oh, the bush. Yeah, if it pushes back far enough, the bush will drop out of the slot. That's better. That'll sit there. I'll sit that up on the block so at least it stays where it's been left. That would be correct. That pin needs to line up with that hole there. That's centered. Whoops, that's a bit enthusiastic. It's got a bit too much molybdenum paste on there. I think I might have been a bit previous getting that lever in there before, because now it makes this really bloody awkward. So I'm going to have to take that pin back out. I've just so carefully put in place. Okay, sacrifices have to be made. Where is the punch? There it is. That'll learn me not to get too far ahead of myself. Right, get this front back on then. Where's that pin? There's the pin. Where's the front piece? There's the piece. Shaft goes through that hole. It seems to be in position. Put the screws in place. 4 screws, 3 of them were quite long and were all the same. 1 of them was short. It's not sitting down flat, I thought it was. Now it is.